Hi, and welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. This is Loshak in the Bag Show for Wednesday, February 28th. Of course, Wednesdays are the days where we can't go over. We have to end like 10 minutes before the hour, so we're going to have to make this one fast. Not fast, but crisp. Crisp pace.
Crisp is nice.
Okay. It's always very entertaining when Jim starts doing his analysis at double speed, his normal speed, which even his normal speed is pretty damn fast. We're going to get to as much as we possibly can. One thing I do want to announce is there is, of course, going to be a March Madness contest at SBR Contest. Jimmy the Bag, you're going to participate in this one, right?
Absolutely.
Once again, the important thing for us to know is that, once again, SBR employees are not eligible to get the prizes, whatever. But we're still going to participate, right, Jim?
Oh, man. It was heartbreaking when you came sixth in Beat the Bag, right?
Know.
Sixth?
No, but you remember what happened. There was one year where they were like, well, why shouldn't, SBR employees be eligible? I mean, Peter is, it's all fair. Peter deposits in books and this and that. They let me eligible for Beat the Prick, and I won the whole fucking thing, Jim.
And then they just
said... And that was like, no more. No more of this shit. No more.
No more. You've got enough.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. All right, so the prize pools, though, not too shabby. First place, $1,500. Second place, $1,000. Pays all the way down to 10th place in terms of cash. And, of course, pays all the way down to 30th in terms of bet points. Bet points are the currency of SBR Forum, and you can exchange those for real-world prizes at the SBR store. And so I was told that is definitely live now. You can sign up now. It's all at SBR. I'm not exactly sure where you can find it, but at sbrforum.com, you can click on the NCAAB tab to find out more about the contest and join. And, of course, you have a lot of time. It is supposed to, I'm told that it's just going to be an NCAA tournament contest. So we got a lot of insanity before that happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we do.
I mean, anyone who asks me a question right now about the NCAA tournament, I'm like, I don't have any room in my brain to talk about that right now. I'm all about the OVC Conference Tournament, which is going on right now, and the NEC Conference Tournament, which is going on right now, and, of course, craziness in the NBA and NHL. All right, Jim, I didn't even have time to enter in all the picks on my spreadsheets that we gave today, but I did have time to look at some of the totals and some of the conference tournaments games that are going on today. Once again, in the morning show, I gave two plays officially, right? One was the under in UNLV Nevada, which I think is a solid play. I gave it in the morning show at 164, and now that is now taken a nice little market move down to 162, which is nice, Jim, right? Yeah. I think that's the right play. I think I'm going to throw on the first half under as well. And I also gave the Kentucky game at -9, which we're all scratching our heads and wondering what the hell's going on with this line movement, because it took already another jump down to about 8.5, although there's still some 9s available. I was assuming that it was because someone's out for Kentucky, but maybe that's not the case. Jimmy the Bag, I guess let's start off with that. Did you look into that game, or did anyone that you talk with on Twitter and everywhere in the internet clue you in as to why this line has taken such a big move?
No, as far as our capping, I have not figured it out yet. It's a very, very strange move.
Yeah.
Clearly, Kentucky looks like the real deal after bouncing back from Calipari's first 4-game losing streak of his career. Luke Charleston says, I'm on Kentucky, Pete. It's a good play.
Yeah.
They've won 3 straight. They beat Alabama and Missouri at home, one at Arkansas. Those aren't easy games. 2 of the 3 games. They won those games with an average margin victory of 15.3 points. Topped 80 points in all 3 wins. I can understand why you would have liked them this morning.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what's the first comment that you got here? Is it from Magzia?
Yes.
All right, good. I don't want to miss any of the comments. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, with these comments, I'm like a little kid with sugar. I don't want to miss any little drop of the positive comments or the funny comments. All right, well, it hasn't dropped down anymore. Some people were saying that it went to 7.5, which is not really true. It's now 8.5 or 9 market wide. I'm going to stick with it. I might even think about doubling up on this one because I disagree with it. Maybe it was just sharp money. If it is sharp money, I respect it, but I disagree with it, and I'm thinking about doubling up on this one. Jim, are you going to have a play on this game?
Well, you'll be happy to know that Mutt Beast is joining us and says Kentucky is my best bet tonight.
I don't get it. You know what I am going to do? Jim? I'm going to double up on this bitch. I'm going to take Kentucky on the first half. Kentucky, first half, -4.5, -118 at Pinnacle right now. I'm doubling up on this bitch, Jim. No one's out for Kentucky, right?
No, I keep checking to see if something will change. Luke Charleston says, I'm thinking a double too. He didn't use the term bitch, but he's thinking a double as well.
And by the way, that is not a sexist term nowadays. It's just meant for, for this. It's for emphasis. It means to identify an item with emphasis. All right. What happened?
No, I'm just laughing here. Yes, no, it doesn't mean, it's emphasis.
Yes, in 2018, you have to be very careful. We are not sexist, homophobic, racist in any way. And if we use a term for comedic purposes, it's okay, but then we will explain why we're using it right after. 2018.
You're absolutely right. We love all people and we fuck all people.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so I'm taking it. I'm taking Kentucky first half -4.5, -118. I already took -9 in the morning. Can't explain what the deal is with the line movement, but once again, Kentucky is a very, very young team, but obviously with blue chippers, and they look like they might have turned a corner recently, which is something that you do tend to see with teams like Kentucky with a ton of youth and a ton of talent. And again, it's partially a fate of Ole Miss. We know that Ole Miss is, it's kind of a lost season for them. Not totally sure they're going to put up a big fight here with the coaching situation. I might be totally wrong, but I'm doubling up on it. I definitely like the under in the Nevada UNLV game more, though, and I did bet that one, and I will definitely throw on the first half as well here. I'll throw on the under. First half is, it's 77. Once again, Intertop's providing the best line on this one. First half under 77 -110. That is the current line at Intertops. And I'm taking that one. Thanks once again to Intertops for providing once again the best line on the first half under UNLV Nevada. Go ahead, Jim.
How dope is our man Joe D? He's in Austin, Texas, staying at a Marriott hotel bar, and he got them to put us up on the bar's big screen TV now.
All right, well, let's try to look as you try to look as cool as you can, and I'll try to look as fucked up as I can, and humorously fucked up. All right, the Marriott hotel bar. All right. Hi, everyone at the Marriott. Now I'm all nervous, right? They're all looking at us, Jim. Hi, how you doing? I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope we can give you some winners. The Marriott Hotel Bar. Thank you so much for Joe D, though. Thank you so much for Joe D. All right, let's see. All right, I'm procrastinating here a little bit, Jim, because I'm just not sure what's up with this Kentucky line. And then there's some other conference tournament games that I did give officially, Jim. Or that I did bet, and I'm going to give officially, Jim. Did you look at any of the conference tournaments? Again, we have the NEC, the OVC, and again, these small conference tournaments can have big betting value. When the conference tournaments come around, because teams make adjustments in the late in the season that the market just has no idea how to price. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear your games, and then we can break them down.
First one I'll give St. Francis and LIU Brooklyn. These teams played twice already. They were relatively close games. St. Francis has had a nice year. They're kind of a veteran team. They've adjusted well to losing their top scorer. And I'm thinking this is another one. Sometimes, when two teams play twice, don't overthink it for the third time. I overthought it with the Winnipeg-Nashville over, and I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to take St. Francis +5.5, and I think I'm going to take them on the first half as well. 5.5 -119. That's the current line at Pinnacle, and I think I'm going to take them on the first half as well, Jim.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. I just don't know these schools very well, and I looked into the game and decided that I just going to stay off of this one.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a close. The first two games are relatively close. I see no reason why this game wouldn't be. LIU Brooklyn does have home court edge, which is why the line's a little bit inflated, which is good because it is a conference championship game. So, I think this is going to be a close game. I'll take it. St. Francis +5.5 -119, and I'm also going to throw on the first half, which I should be able to get a 3 here. Here we go, +3 -110. Once again, Intertops, amazing. Intertops really coming through in the pinch here. First half +3. -110. I'm taking that one. Then another game that's interesting is, from a handicapping perspective, is an OVC game, and that is Eastern Illinois against Tennessee State. And this is an interesting game because basically Tennessee State is all about this one guy. They have a big man who's from Nigeria, and he is the Defensive Player of the Year in the OVC. He can take over a game. Also, if he gets in foul trouble, that's a huge negative, and all of a sudden, the opponent is going to have a big edge. They played twice already this year. It was a very close, low-scoring game each time. Eastern Illinois lost by about 3 each time, and I think that's the case here. I would be leaning Eastern Illinois. Maybe take them on the money line because I figure, if they'll have a shot if the big man gets into foul trouble for Tennessee State, and if that happens, Eastern Illinois will probably win outright. Tennessee State, though, is a solid team. They play very strong defense. It's likely to be a close, low-scoring game. A lot of times, here's one thing. Think about this, Jim. Everyone talks about how how teasers in college basketball are sucker bets, and in general, that is true. But once in a while, in my opinion, they can have betting value, and this is exactly the kind of game. In like a tournament game that's expected to be close and low scoring, where you think the the underdog might have a little bit of an edge, and you expect the game to be low scoring. That's where teasers can have some value in college basketball, and teasing Eastern Illinois might not be a bad idea here, Jim.
Very interesting stuff. Yeah. These small schools do offer a lot of value at times.
Did you look at that game, Jim?
I did not.
You did not. All right, what did you look at, Jim?
Well, you know, I'm much more comfortable. I mean, I hit almost every game on this card. So first, do you want in no particular order? I'm going to leave the small schools alone at this point.
Oh, and the other thing we're going to do is that when the Illinois-Rutgers game hits the second half, we will. I'll give a second half play on that one. I have a feeling I'm going to have a second half play on that one. And that line also, I said I liked Illinois on the overnight line, and in the morning show, it had moved in Iowa's favor, and then by tip-off, it had moved back in Illinois' favor, which is interesting to note. All right, what do you like here, Jim?
Well, first off, Ulysses Hayes says, love Clemson. DJ Big Boss says Clemson first half and full game. I am also on Clemson this evening, and we'll be taking them on the full game. They stopped their 3-game losing streak with a 75-67 win over visiting Georgia Tech. They got point guard Sheldon Mitchell back from the concussion he received the last time these two teams met. With one more win, they will reach 11 ACC wins for the first time in school history. They still could get that double bye. Florida State is coming off a very ugly road performance at South Carolina. They went 0-15 from the 3. I expect them to shoot better this year, but they're just 4-6 on the road this season. These teams met 81-79 Florida State overtime victory 2 weeks ago in Tallahassee. The Seminoles were down 18. Clemson was in complete control until Shelton Mitchell was knocked out. Shelton Mitchell is back. Clemson is at home, and I think they roll.
Okay, I'm going to get some comments that I didn't get a chance to see while I was giving my spiel because there's some interesting comments. All right, so you want Clemson, you're doubling up or just the full game?
Just the full game.
All right, let's see. It is down. It is headed down. It opened at 4.5. Now down to 3, no 2.5. So we can give you -3, -109 at Pinnacle right now. Clemson -3, -109. Here are some early comments coming in on college basketball. First of all, great to see this shit. -110 Nostra Tota, agreeing with my play on St. Francis. Love St. Francis, Pete. Trash the points. Take the money line. Take the plus money on the money line. That is great to hear, Jimmy the Bag.
Absolutely.
You want to jump on it and maybe try to steal a couple cheap units for your record?
I made a call to never do that again.
Okay, that's a smart thing to do. That's a smart thing because at the very least, you know, you want to get you want to go down swinging with your best pitch, not someone else's best pitch.
Although
or someone else's worst pitch.
Although I trust Nostra Tota implicitly.
Adam Akchian says Minnesota at a pick'em is a solid play. That is a really tough one. Again, they're playing Rutgers, two terrible teams. Minnesota just in a disappointing season. They had some injury issues, and Rutgers has some spunk to them. You remember Jimmy the Bag? I took Rutgers to hang close with Michigan State at home. I'd be leaning Rutgers, but Alan Akchian likes Minnesota at a pick'em, and I certainly can't strongly disagree with that one. DJ Big Boss having second thoughts about Pitt covering +19. I would agree with you, DJ Big Boss. Pitt's a bad team. I'm not sure this is a spot where I've had no problem taking them as a big underdog all year long, and this is not a spot where I'm going to be doing that one. Let's see. Other comments here, Jim. All right, why don't we get to another game that you want, Jim?
Sure. My man Blake Kersey, our man Blake Kersey, on Duquesne this evening, as am I. Now, I also came very close to taking the over here. There was some debate with the guys that I've been capping with whether or not to take the over here. Max likes the over. Nostra Tota likes unders on this card. I decided just to stick with Duquesne only at this point. Duquesne looked like an improving squad until this 6-game losing streak derailed their season. They've been playing they played some really good games during this streak. They had 2 games versus the Bonnies. We know how good they are. They lost by 3 at home, then lost by 6 on the road. The Billikens have had distribution problems all year, and now they've lost Jordan Goodwin for the rest of the year due to a suspension, a real gray area suspension involving a sexual situation where the other guys involved have been kicked out of the school. He's only suspended for the rest of the season. Goodwin was a top 50 4-star recruit. He accounts for a third of the team's assists. The Billikens are playing just 6 players right now, and that leaves them extremely susceptible to foul trouble, to injuries. Without Goodwin, senior Duke's point guard Rene Castro Canetti will have his way on senior night. I'm taking Duquesne on the full game.
I was thinking that as well. And just, of course, recently Duquesne has been slumping. You're not concerned about that? You think that's all forgivable?
It's not forgivable,
right?
But some of these games, as I said, the 2 games for St. Bonnie's, they looked good. This is their last home game of the season, and I think they put it together.
All right, slight market move in favor of St. Louis, but nothing to be concerned about, in my personal opinion. +1 -106 at Pinnacle is the best line we can give you on that one for Duquesne, Jim.
I like it.
All right, how about that? We do have some comments here coming in from JP Fahey. We were wondering about the UConn game. JP Fahey, of course, one of our regular commenters who knows UConn back and forth. And JP Fahey, just I saw out of the corner of my eye, had a comment on the UConn game. Message retracted from JP Fahey. Oh, no.
I got it here.
What?
I got it here. It's not retracted on my
No. I'm seeing one message retracted from Oh, here we go. JB Fahey says, no, I said stay off UConn for rest of the year, but final home game, possibly Ollie's last game, Jalen's possible last game, and it's sold out. Careful, Temple. UConn sneaks a win.
Yes, I capped this game. It's a very, very tough game. UConn's won 3 of their last 12, playing out the string. It seems like the last home game of Ollie's coaching career at UConn. Temple's turned their season around. They've won 8 of 11. Those only 3 losses have come to the top teams in the conference, Cincinnati, Wichita State, Houston. I think Quentin Rose and Shiz Alston should be able to team up and stop Jalen Adams. Ednet Chionia should be able to stay out of foul trouble and dominate this game. We know how weak UConn is on the boards and how they have no quality big men. Saying all that, JP Fahey's a season ticket holder. He's been very, very good with every move he's made regarding this team all season long. And to make things more murky and uncomfortable, Nostra Tota has Temple -2.5 as one of his best bets on the card today.
See, I was looking at that one and thinking maybe a shot with the under or the full game or the first half under, and I've already seen some people suggesting that they like the under on that one as well. What do you think about the under, Jim? And what do you think about the under, JP Fahey? If you can chime in on that one, that would be much appreciated. What do you think, Jim?
Machiavelli, we know that's Nate Pereira, a great guy, says Temple wins by double digits. What is the line for the over-under right now?
It was 139, and it was bet down from the opener, I think, of like 141 or something. Let me just find it to be
we have another UConn student here, Ricky Packard.
Oh, shit.
Says, I like Temple.
Okay.
Game is sold out because UConn's giving 2 free tickets to students desperate for attendance.
There you go.
This game means much more to Temple.
That's some shit. JP Fahey probably didn't even know that. He thought all those students were shelling out cash for these tickets.
Oh, man, this is great. Thank you for that, Ricky. Justin Searcy says, I took Temple. Twadi Latte says Temple.
Wow.
Jeremy M says, I'm all over Temple as well. Ricky Packard says, I'm on Temple, by the way.
Wow.
G-Money NHL Top Shelf says, simple, Temple.
Wow. Very, very, very nice. All right, we got a lot of other stuff okay, and Anthony McRae says, way better game to focus on. Too much Temple, 2 iffy teams. I agree with that, Anthony McRae. I'm passing on this game.
Jody coming in says, I took Temple -2 for $400. Nostra Tota says, this line stinks, but can't pass this short line. Temple should be laying 6.
I'm going to pass on this game. If you gave me a free play on the side, I would take Temple, I think. Yes.
I've decided to pass on this game as well. I was about to take Temple until I learned about JP Fahey's feeling on this game. So yes, I'm off this game as well. Maze Nuts is on Temple as well. It seems like a ton of people are on Temple.
And then Justin Searcy says the way UConn lost to Memphis was a sign. That's true. Although, UConn did rally back in that one, right?
They did really rally back, and Memphis just beat Houston.
All right, Jim, we got to wrap this show up early, so let's move on to other college basketball games. A huge card. What else are you thinking about? The Mount St. Mary's Robert Morris game is very interesting. Obviously, Mount St. Mary's is a great team this year, and they've beaten Robert Morris pretty easily twice this year, but the line's falling. It's now down to 5.
It makes sense from a coaching perspective why this line's falling. You're playing a team for the 3rd time. You have to have come up with a game plan to make it closer. If I had a free play, I would lean to the under, but the line's very low.
Yes.
I do not like taking teams on the 3rd match after the one team's blown out the other team both times. This is a tricky, trappy game, and I'm laying off.
And I was thinking about the first half under, and I will take that one, Jimmy the Bag. Mount St. Mary's first half under. I had a lean to the under in the first half on the exact same line, a very similar situation with Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan. I punked out. I bitched out. I didn't take it, and that one did go under. It was close. It went to 59, but I'm going to take this one here. 63.5 minus 110. That's a bunch of places at 63 or 63.5. I'm making that official, Jim. Mount St. Mary's first half under 63.5 minus 110. Of course, Robert Morris has a lot of problems offensively. They play decent defense, and Mount St. Mary's very, very strong defensively in general, and they slow the pace down. All right, let's look for some other games here that are interesting. Let me just see what are some of the other games that I was thinking about here. Let's see. Well, we have once again Butler St. John's. Once again, a modest total for a St. John's game. We've had some success betting overs in St. John's games since Jim pointed out that St. John's had chained up their style and wanted to run a little bit more. They've been on a run of overs. Butler, of course, can be a low or high scoring team, but a modest total here. What do you think about this one? Did you look at that one, Jim?
I did look at this game, and Nostra Toto, who likes unders on this card, says if there was a game that he would take the over on, it would be this one. Butler destroyed St. John last time these teams met. You can pretty much put a line through it for whatever reason. St. John's was in the throes of a 10-game losing streak. Butler got out to a 17-2 lead, and Chris Mullen has turned this team around. So you can pretty much put a line through that. What you can't put a line through is how bad Shamari Pons gets shut down every time he plays Butler and every time he plays teams with quality guards. Now, Shamari Pons is a young player. And I think that he can break out of this issue. And I'm sure he's been told that stat over and over again this week. Twadi Latte is on St. John's.
SM asking Pete, do you like St. Francis? Well, I'm on St. Francis, New York at plus 5.5. St. Francis, PA at minus 8.5 is I mean, they're better. They're much better than wait, where the hell is that game? Where the hell is that game? St. Francis, PA, against FDU. I mean, they're much better than FDU, and they should roll here. If you gave me a free play on that one, I would take it. Although, again, in this conference, it's a very tight conference. There's a lot of parity and a lot of competitive teams with each other. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if overall the underdogs do very well here, especially on the money lines. But I'm staying off that one. But if you gave me a free play, I would take St. Francis, PA. All right, move on, Jimmy. So do you want to make a play on that one, Jim, on the Butler game?
Are you interested in making a play on the total?
I mean, let me see where it is. It was 145 when I saw it. Let me see where it. It's headed up a little bit. Bookmaker appears to still have 145. I would. I would love to take a shot with the over on that one, Jimmy the Bag. I'll tell you what, Jim. Although I've just gotten burned recently, my top plays have been very good, and my half-ass plays and my late, team totals, unders, and stuff like that. Have not done so well, but I would love to take. I'll think about it, Jim.
I will think about it too.
Let's move on. What else are you liking? What else would you like to talk about today, Jim?
Okay, well, guys have been talking about it on the chat. Let's get to it now. I am also with you guys on LaSalle. LaSalle's been playing very well at home. They took Rhode Island to the brink in a 95-93 overtime loss last game at home. The only teams to beat them over the last two, after the last, I believe, 6 home games, were St. Bonnie and the aforementioned Rhode Island. Dayton's lost 6 straight road games by an average margin of 12.8 points. They look awful. They're terrible on the boards. This is senior night. LaSalle seniors B.J. Johnson and Tony Washington will control the glass. Dayton's tiny. Washington 6'10", 235 pounds. He will control the glass. I'm on LaSalle full game.
Okay, that makes some sense to me as well. That line is also taking a slight market move in favor of Dayton. A very slight move. I wouldn't be too worried about that, but it did open at 3. It's now 2.5, so we can give you LaSalle minus 2.5, minus 103. That's the current line at Pinnacle. LaSalle minus 2.5, minus 103. All right, Jimmy the Bag. Let's see what else do we have going on here. Let me see what else I was thinking about in this one. Well, I guess let's quickly talk about Villanova Seton Hall because it's an interesting game. Obviously, Villanova it gets a nice little bit. One of their big negatives was their depth with Phil Booth out for most of the regular season. Now he's back, so that's a nice little boost from from Villanova. But Seton Hall is a no slouch of a team. They can hang. What do you think, Jim?
I was wanting to take Seton Hall in this spot. Rodriguez has been upgraded to probable for tonight's game, but I know Twadi is on Villanova first half, and
the people at the Marriott must be thinking, what? He's like, did he just say, I know Twadi is on the first half on that one, and Bill Butler also agrees with me, though, so I'm not sure what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where's Small Dick Donnie when you need him?
They're watching this guy deciding whether to go with Twadi or Bill Butler.
Villanova coming off 89-83 overtime loss at Creighton. They have now lost 2 of 4 trying to avoid their first 2-game losing streak since 2012-2013. Seton Hall coming off 81-74 overtime victory over St. John's Madison Square Garden. They did it without Desi Rodriguez, who sprained his ankle against Providence. Rodriguez is upgraded to probable. He's expected to play. Villanova has won 6 of 7 versus Seton Hall. Nova has depth now. 6 players in double digits. Phil Booth back, but he's not looking that good. His jump shot's not rolling. 6 for 15 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3 over those 2 games. I wanted to take Seton Hall, and I just couldn't pull the trigger. Ulysses Hayes says Villanova. Elio Rodriguez says Villanova first half is a good play. Anything that Twadi does is a good play. Yes, SM agreeing. Villanova -3 looks good. Joe D agreeing that we should fade Dayton. Omar Magana says, yeah, LaSalle is my play. Yeah, very, very tough to bet against Villanova, and I'm not going to.
Okay. Jimmy the Bag, any other plays you want to give from college basketball today?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. There are other games that I want to give. First off, let's go with South Carolina.
Okay.
I'm taking South Carolina. Very successful fading LSU on the road. And I know South Carolina isn't a great basketball team, but I am taking them here. Nate Pereira saying Seton Hall, good value with the points. Try to get 7. Al Mack saying, I like Seton Hall. They will keep it close.
Well, the South Carolina game starts in about 3 minutes, so let me quote you the line here. At Bookmaker, -4, -114. Jim's taking South Carolina, -4, -114. Again, that game starts in like 4 or 5 minutes. So, Jim, tell us why you like it.
South Carolina's looked good winning the last 2 home games over tough teams, Auburn and Georgia. They won each game comfortably by 9 points. LSU's lost 6 straight road games with an average margin of defeat of 15 points. They look terrible on the road. Ooh, a Native Queen Temple first half under and game under. They've looked awful on the road all year. In their 4-point overtime loss versus Mississippi State on Saturday night, point guard Hassani Gravett scored 19 points. We're talking about South Carolina now, excuse me, sorry. But he committed 8 turnovers. And I expect a more complete performance because he's going up against Tremont Waters. You know that Frank Martin's going to be all over him for the turnovers. I expect him to step up and play much better. I like South Carolina here at home, taking them -4.
Okay, -4, -114. I'm thinking about, Native Queen says, I'm with you, Bag. Love South Carolina first half and strong lean to the over. Okay, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Let's see. And I'm thinking about Taylor Native Queen on the Temple first half under and maybe the full game under. Everyone knows, everyone heard me say it before we heard that Native Queen liked it, but yeah, it's a big game for Temple. They're going to want to play intense defense. UConn, that's what they do, and I am going to do that, Jim. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the UConn game first half under. I like the full game under as well, but for now, I'll just take the first half under, and that will be once again Intertops and Bookmaker both with 65.5 -110. So I'm taking the first half under. 65.5 -110 Temple UConn. All right, I've added that one on there, Jim. And you added South Carolina -4. Jim, what else do you like from this college basketball card?
Let's see. I believe I've only given 3 plays at this point.
Oh, you've given 4. Clemson -3, Duquesne +1, LaSalle -2.5, and South Carolina -4.
Those are the official plays that I want to give, but I've capped a ton of these games. So anything you want to talk about, I'm hammering. Why don't we hammer the Xavier spot? Native Queen as Xavier first half.
That one starts in like maybe it's already started. Okay, we can talk about it. Native Queen likes what did she said? She likes Xavier Queen's first half. Okay.
Yeah, and also against the spread. Sorry, let me just get to the notes. Jesus, is that the only other 2 games that are starting in 2
minutes? Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Not only is it senior night for Makura, Blewett, and O'Mara, but the Big East Conference title can be clinched here. This is a huge, huge game. Providence is the team that snapped the Musketeers' 10-game winning streak with the 81-72 shocker last month. Kyron Cartwright was a thorn in the sides of Xavier that night, put up 19 points, 9 assists, 4 steals. This is a huge revenge spot. Blewett scoreless in the first half of that contest. Xavier was limited to 43% shooting, with just 5 for 18 from distance, committed 15 turnovers. Providence has lost 8 straight games in the state of Ohio under Coach Cooley, 4 in a row to Xavier. Xavier out-rebounded Providence 44-28 in that loss. They'll dominate the boards again here. Al Mack just put $50 on Xavier -11. I get it. Omar likes Xavier first half. I get it. It's a lot of points, though. And I'd be more comfortable first half than I would full game. And I'm not making a move on this. Are you?
Okay.
Did you?
What?
Sorry, on the Xavier Providence game?
No. I would have a lean to the first half over on that one, and maybe I would give it, but it's already like 6:30 Eastern time, so cool. I will pass on that one. Let's see other people commenting. Up, Alan Action says Minnesota is my first official pick on the Loshak in the Bag show. Thank you so much, Alan Action.
Nice
I actually wish we had like someone who could just take all these picks in the chat box and tally them up and keep track of them. That would be awesome.
And we were talking about wanting to award.
Yes, we want to give, when people make just great analysis turns out to be right, give a genius award.
I'm totally all over that and have one each day. Give a genius award to one of the people in our chat.
And the first inaugural genius award would be a lifetime genius award too. Native Queen. That would be the first one if we do that. So hopefully we'll have the manpower to do that. But that would be awesome because we do get a lot of great commentary and great picks in these and bold picks too. A lot of people make bold picks and they turn out to be dead on. So let's see.
I'd love to talk about this Houston SMU game. I find it extremely interesting. The line movement on the total has been very interesting, creeping down all day from 138 all the way down to 133.5. Drew Martin. Got him this morning at 138 on the under, and now he looks very shrewd in making that play. Now that it's gone all the way down to 133.5, I was close to pulling the trigger on the over, and I won't because that has not worked for me when the line movement's gone all the way one way, hammering it the other side. Now, in saying that, let's break this game down. Houston heads to North Texas to face an undermanned SMU squad. Very confident after that dominant showing against a very weak Eastern Carolina team, up 63-13 at the half. They made a bunch of records. I won't go through them all, but man, 61-point lead in the second half. Amazing. Houston's won 6-7, and SMU has lost 6-7, but they're coming off a very tight 6-point loss at home to Wichita State. SMU has played the last 7 games with 7 or less scholarship student athletes. Foster, left knee. Everett Ray, left foot. Now Shake Milton, been out the last 7 games with a broken hand. McMurray's gone crazy hitting threes, shooting threes, 12 for 22 over his last 2 games. That seems to be their whole offense right now is McMurray taking threes, which does lead to offense. Made me kind of want to pull the trigger on the over now that it's gone so low, but I'm not going to do it. The Mustangs have 3 wins against ranked teams. They're 13-4 at home this season. Very, very interesting game, and I know a lot of people think Houston is a big play.
I'd be leaning to the under even at 133.5, Jim. So I would recommend you not take that. But go ahead if you want to.
No, absolutely.
I was also in the Kentucky game thinking about an under on that one as well. That line has not moved that much, but Kentucky plays great perimeter defense. I called the under when they played Auburn, and that one went under. Ole Miss, not much of an offensive juggernaut to put it mildly, and I was thinking about an under on this one, Jim. I'm just so the line movement, early line movement, just kind of caught me off guard, and I've just been not comfortable studying this game all day. Tony Madlock has done a nice job in the 2 games he's had control. That 90-87 overtime win at Missouri was impressive. That 73-65 loss at Tennessee was impressive. Sure.
But I have no idea why or how people would like Ole Miss the way Kentucky's just been rolling.
Maybe there's some report that we don't know about from the locker room that Ole Miss is like, all right, guys, we're in a down season, but we're going to rally together. We're going to go up against these blue chip freshmen, and we're going to give them everything we've got. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe someone knows something that we don't know.
Oh, Jemiah, what a great guy he is. His comment is, can someone please tell SBR Brass that you guys need more time to do the show? You can't rush perfection.
Motherfucker, there you go. Jemiah Too Sharp to Be a Square Norman says, can someone please tell SBR Brass you guys need more time to do the show? You can't rush perfection. You can't rush it. Oh my God, I live for those comments here. Yeah. Larry, did you hear that comment? Yeah, Johan, you heard that comment? You cannot rush perfection.
You cannot rush it.
God, I love that shit. I don't care. Wow. All right, there you go. Thank you so much to Maya Too Sharp to Be a Square Norman. God, I love that shit. All right, let's.
Well, a couple things quick on the Kentucky game. Jace Gum, who's been excellent notes, helping our chat very much. I love that having him involved. He says Kentucky under is a good play. 153 is a lot of points. Searcy comes in and says Ole Miss gets destroyed. Michael A is taking Kentucky 2 ways, first half and full game. Man, wow. Native Queen talking about Iowa first half and under going to hit. looking at second half over. So I'm looking forward to hear what your second half plays.
We'll see what that is. We'll see what that is. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I want to do with this Mississippi game. Maybe that's it. I mean, maybe Mississippi is just rallying around their adversity this year, and someone knows something inside the locker room that they're going to come out here and just give it their all here and give a big challenge to Kentucky's star freshman. You know, I don't know, Jim.
I don't know. It's very tricky spot. Max Smart is on the Dukes over, and God, he hits at such a high rate. I feel like I should just blindly go with it, but tough when Toda's liking all unders, and this is a tricky card.
I think we got some nice plays. I'm really liking the Nevada UNLV under. I'm really liking that one. I bet it at 164. I gave it in the morning show as 164. It's now down to 162. I still like it at 162. There's some 163s around, I think. It is a tricky card, but I think the plays that I'm definitely liking the first half under in the UConn game. I mean, that one, anytime you have a low total in a first half in college basketball and you're betting the under, you know, anything can happen. There's a lot of randomness involved, but I think that's a solid play as well, Jim.
I hear you too. Jose Ings got in late, likes Kentucky over.
Okay.
And then King Rail says, my brilliance will be respected. I think he's thinking about the award that we'll be giving.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And he says
King Rail.
Kentucky under.
Wow. See, there you go. Yes, that would be a where is that comment? Where the hell is that comment?
It's right under Arthur Funches asking what we think
Kentucky
about Wagner
under,
tonight.
Kentucky, yes. I was thinking that way as well, King Rail. And then MVP Sportsbook says I love Kentucky tonight.
And then Mr. Cloudkick says for Kentucky first half over.
Yeah, Kentucky has been a high-scoring team in the first halves recently. They've had a lot of games that were that wound up in the mid-150s, but the first half was like upper 70s or low 80s. Yes.
Accurate Jawanda says this is Ole Miss's Super Bowl. Tough to tell.
Right. That's the problem. Maybe it is Ole Miss's Super Bowl, and that's why the line is headed down, and I'm on the wrong side. I just feel like the talent discrepancy is there, and that Kentucky has turned a corner. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I mean, if this is Ole Miss's Super Bowl, they might be, up by 5 points after 8 minutes, but then the class shows, and then Kentucky just rolls the whole way. How many times have we seen that this year? And, in our whole handicapping lives in college basketball.
Wow, and Jay says the line just moved up to 154. Zach Kenkel comes in and says, I'm on Kentucky over.
All right, and here's one game that we haven't even talked about that is also has me scratching my head, the poor man's Kentucky game. It is George Washington against Fordham. Fordham is really bad. I was also thinking George Washington -9 might be a good play, but also that line is also moved in Fordham's favor. It's now down to 8 or 7.5, and the Greek already at 7.
I've been impressed at the way Fordham has been playing of late. And when I understood that a lot of people were on George Washington, I just left this game alone. Fordham has improved as the season's gone on.
All right, Jim, we do want to get to both NBA and NHL, so I think we should just wrap this up. We do have to wrap it up early. Okay, Jim, can we move on?
Absolutely.
All right, let me just review the plays. Jim has South Carolina -4, LaSalle -2.5, Duquesne +1, and Clemson -3. In the morning, I gave the under 164 in the UNLV game, and I gave Kentucky -9. We'll see. We'll see how this shit turns out, because I did double up on it. I also took Kentucky first half -4.5 in today's show. I took the first half under 77 in the UNLV game, Mount St. Mary's first half under 63.5, UConn first half under 65.5, and St. Francis first half +3 and full game +5.5, -119, and one of our absolute top favorite handicappers to get opinions from, -110. Nostra Toto loves St. Francis. He said, don't even worry about the points. Take St. Francis on the money line, is what -110 Nostra Toto said.
And we need to always be listening to what my man Nostra Toto says. Now, so are we not going to move on the Butler St. John's over? Because I know we got to move on.
We got to move on, Jim. If you want to take it, you can take it right now, but make a decision because we got to move on.
When does that game start?
The Butler St. John's, 9 o'clock Eastern time, Jim.
Okay, great. I got time.
All right. Okay. So let's move on to NHL. Just 5 games on the card. I did take a shot with the under in the Islanders-Montreal game at 6.5, which Jim, had a lukewarm endorsement for, but didn't necessarily love it. That line has not moved at all. Jim also took Detroit as a big underdog against St. Louis, and this is interesting shit, Jim. St. Louis, the Detroit line. Of course, the early money came in on St. Louis, right? Then, when I was making the graphics for this video, the Detroit line had gone down. So money had come in on Detroit. Now, it's back up. Money coming back in on Detroit, Jim. That is a pretty strong market opinion, like in St. Louis. The early money and the late money on St. Louis as a big favorite, despite 3 straight big losses.
Yes, I mean, if you look at the 2 rosters, it's pretty easy to understand that St. Louis has a better roster. But there's something wrong in that dressing room. There's something wrong in that team. G Money NHL Top Shelf is into this Blue squad. He said that Carter Hutton didn't look so bad last game. He allowed 5 goals on 25 shots. These guys are very susceptible. Al Max says, honestly, the St. Louis Detroit over 5 is a play of the year. It's the first time, as you know, it's the first time I've taken anything with the higher odds than minus 125 all year.
Okay, Jim, here's what we're going to do. The second half line is up for Illinois and Iowa. Why don't you just talk about the small NHL card in general? Just talk about it while I do some research here and look into whether I want to give a second half play here. All right, Jim?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ulysses Hayes says, I like the Ranger money line and under tonight. Very interesting. I'm on that under too. I think that's a really nice spot to be in. Udon Porn, Ratina Facti, a great hockey capper, says Blues wake up tonight. This is not an easy team to wake up to. Red Wings are big and young. They're a tough team to play against. Now, they're not, offensively gifted. Zetterberg's not the Zetterberg of old. There's no Pavel Datsyuk out there. But this is not an easy team to play against. Jeremy M says Blues are going to pull their heads out of their asses. I said it yesterday. They put goals in, but lose tonight. And he says they bounce back. I don't know if they do. Detroit versus St. Louis. Listen to this stat from Q Wilson. Says the visitors are 9-1. Wow. Jose Yang says Blues over the play of the day for the NHL. Jeremy M. Blues moneyline and over. Ulysses Hayes is on Calgary moneyline. I've heard that a lot of sharps are on that.
I'm throwing a half unit on the under 81 in the Illinois-Iowa game. That's very risky because, of course, we know what Iowa does. They like to play a high-paced game, and also this game easily could go to overtime, Jim. It's a tight game. 31-35 could easily go into overtime. We could easily see shenanigans at the end, but that is a very, very high total for a second half here. The way this game has been going, I'm taking a half unit on the under 81, and I will make that an official pick. I'll add that one as an official pick. Under 81 minus 110, Jim.
All right.
All right, keep going.
So Machiavelli, our man Nate Pereira, says Blues get owned tonight. G-Money NHL Top Stuff says Detroit missed their dressing room glue. Tatar was the glue. That affects the hell of the pregame rituals. Wings will be off. They talked about missing Tatar's laugh in the dressing room. And I don't know how important he was to the team, but he's been a disappointment offensively. And it's one thing to laugh at all the jokes in the dressing room. It's another thing to play poorly on the ice, which is what he's been doing. Anthony McRae says St. Louis big upset tonight. Well, it's not an upset if they're the favorite, but unless you're saying that Detroit will take it. Alan Action. I'm a Red Wing fan in Michigan restaurant. I'd be careful taking the Wings. I understand it. I'm getting a plus number that I like. And I'm going to take it. I think there's nothing wrong with beating on a team when they're down, and that's what we're doing here. Damo, our man Damo, says Detroit's 5-0 against St. Louis in the last 5 games when playing on the road. This Machiavelli, it says Blues looked terrible last night. They did. Interesting. This is a very interesting spot. I think the Islanders-Canadiens game is very interesting, but I'm staying off of that. I'm on the Avalanche tonight because we've seen how bad this Flames offensive roster depth is. It looks terrible. The Avalanche are a team that plays very well at home. I know I said fade them for the rest of the year, but I can't. I want to. And I know I said take overs, but this Flames team is bad and won't make the playoffs. The Rangers at Canucks. This is a spot where the Canucks power play should be able to take advantage of this game tonight. The Rangers are bringing in all these new defensemen, all these new forwards. They're going to be out of sorts, and they've looked bad so far this year. Markstrom is expected, look at his numbers in February. 2.50 goals against average, .924 save percentage. When they're hanging these sixes at us, I think it's important to take them.
Okay, Jimmy the Bag. Let me see. We do have to get. We got to wrap this up. Larry, how much more time do we have?
We have 7 minutes.
Oh shit! So we got 7 minutes. We got to get to NBA. All right. Anything else you want to discuss? People have been talking about how the Calgary line has gotten, the Colorado line has gotten bet down a little bit. So I guess people are thinking that Colorado has a bunch of injuries, right? And they're liking Calgary here. Well, Jim accurately said Calgary sucks yesterday.
Yes, and Lindholm is coming back. He'll help on the defensive end. And I did receive a message that Accurate Joanna says, Jimmy trashing my Flames. Sorry, man, but I am from Vancouver, so I hate your Flames. But I heard that the Sharps are on Calgary tonight. And
Native Queen agrees with the second half under. Initially, she liked the over, but when she saw that the total was 81, she was like, that's too high. I'm on the under. That's exactly how I feel. Native Queen, great to hear that. All right, and I just upgraded that actually to a full unit on my betting. I just bet it. I was initially going to just take a half unit because this game could go to overtime, but I made it a full unit bet under 81 second half. All right, Jim, let's move on to NBA, a huge card. We only have 5 minutes to go. Let's see, what do we want to talk about here? I don't even know where to start. The big question here is, Indiana, you took them at -5, didn't you? It's now down to 4.5 or 4, so the market thinking that maybe Atlanta will put up a fight here. They do have revenge, even though it appears that they are tanking on the season. Houston, of course, big revenge spot against Clippers. There was a big fight in the locker room the last game. Jim took them at 8 on the full game, and that is now up to 8.5. Well, the Greek still has 8. I took Houston on the first half, and I took the first half team total over 60 on that one. Jim also took the Spurs to get a win over New Orleans. That line is not moved, but that's kind of a ballsy play there. Big line move in favor of Memphis. That opened at -1, now up to 2.5 or 3 over Phoenix. The Golden State-Washington game is very interesting. I did take a sneaky shot with the under on that one at 226.5 or 226, and that is now right where it was where I took it. I also thought that maybe, despite the fact that New Orleans has been playing at a furious pace recently, that maybe in this game the Spurs will try to slow it down. I was thinking about the under in that one. That's headed up still. That's up to 219. So maybe I will hold off that one. Jimmy the Bag also took the over in Toronto Orlando at 221. That's right where that is where he took it. And that's about it for the line movements that I'm seeing. What else would you like to comment on here from NBA?
Jose
Jim?
Ing says Pelicans over is the NBA bet of the day.
Okay,
I tell you what, if I knew that Pau Gasol was going to be playing, which I'm pretty certain he is out. Do we know that as a fact?
I don't know, but what I read, I assumed he was out based on my research last night.
I did as well. Let me just if he was in and Aldridge and him could play that in and out game that they play so beautifully as two bigs, I would agree. But I can't take. Oh yeah, he's being ruled out. I can't just the way these Pelicans are playing, and it's very difficult. Very, very difficult to take unders against this team. When I'm looking over this card, I'm very uncomfortable with my Pistons play. They're a difficult team to trust, and I'm nervous. I don't like it.
Well, that line is not moved, so you could take it back. Unfortunately, we couldn't give you a 2, but we can give you a 1.5. You could take it back, eat the juice. Usually that's not a good thing to do, but you can do it, Jim.
I'm not doing it. I'm going to stick with it. But they're a tough team to believe in. Gasol's out. Okay,
and also other comments earlier today. People were we had a lot of great comments that Golden State on the first quarter might be a good play on the over. Someone was said that Golden State in general. I can't even remember. We have so many great commenters now, but some people were saying that. It was Tomrio Tomor who said that Golden State has been money on their first quarter overs in nationally televised games. And then Dan Kelly went to his spreadsheet and came in and said that this was a comment that came in after we wrapped up the show. Some great stat that Golden State is 17-4 on first quarter overs over the last 21 games or something like that. So I took the full game under on this one, and I might look at a second half under if the first half is very explosive. But the first quarter over might be a good play in the Golden State Washington game. I don't know. We'll see, Jim.
Yeah, we broke down the stats of what they're doing on third quarters in the early show. I can understand it. Damo is asking me if I'm confident in the Canucks at home. No, I can't be. They're just not a good squad. I'm going to take them in a game like this against Rangers. I'm more confident in the under 6 in that spot. Looking over the basketball card, I like my over in the Celtics Hornets game. It's unclear how much Howard is going to play. When he's off the court, the Celtics scoring will go up. And I bet you he doesn't play 27 minutes in this game tonight. And when he's out and Frank Kaminsky is on the floor, their offense will move up as well.
Here we go. Native Queen says, haven't had judgment. Got a lean on Orlando first quarter. And I took them on the first half. Someone came in the morning, says, no, Pete, don't do that. Orlando's going to shit the bed in the second quarter. They didn't say the first half was a bad bet because the first quarter would be a bad bet or that Orlando wouldn't come out strong early. They predicted that Orlando would crap out in the second quarter, and Native Queen comes in and likes Orlando on the first quarter. Line on that would be +3. And I said maybe I'll double up on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe I will double up on that one. Why don't you read some other comments that you think are interesting while I check the first quarter line here, Jim?
Dan Kelly mentioning that the Pistons, a lot of the guys, sorry, I should finish that. That the Pistons are in the same spot tonight that Washington was in last night. Or sorry, that Milwaukee is in the same spot that Washington is in last night, meaning that Detroit's in a bad spot. And a lot of these cappers that I really respect are against me, and that makes me very uncomfortable.
All right, I'm going to take Orlando on the first quarter because it lines up with my handicapping on the game anyway. A lot of people that I respect like the first quarter a lot more than the first half. I don't mind doubling up here. It just feels like maybe a little bit of a down spot early for Toronto, and Orlando does seem like a team that has some fight to them, especially early in games. So I'm going to add on first quarter. Once again, Intertop's giving us the best line. First quarter +3, -105 for Orlando against Charlotte. Doubling up on that one, Jim.
I like it. Melee Payless Way says Raptors team total over. That goes exactly with my over in that Magic Raptors game that we're speaking of. I'm trusting my capping on the plan with my team total Clippers under. But God, it's very difficult to be confident in the Clippers not scoring points. I just think that it is unfair. The travel is unfair. The situation is unfair. You have who I think is going to win the NBA championship. I know everybody's been against me, but I've said it all season, or I guess 10 games into the season, that I'd like the Rockets to win the NBA championship. You've got who I think is the best team in the NBA sitting there waiting. Just waiting while they're in a very, very difficult game against the Nuggets. I think it's unfair, and that's why I'm taking the team total under there.
All right. In the meantime, Pinnacle did just move to 226.5 for the Golden State-Washington game, and other commenters are saying they expect a shootout in that one, so I might be on the wrong side of that one with my play on the under. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened in the NBA season for me. As far as other line moves, nothing. The Dallas-OKC game, a huge move to the under, opened at 214, now down to a 209, which is very interesting. Opened at 214 at Pinnacle on the opener.
And money's gone on to Dallas, right? I got him at +5.
You got him at Iconia. No, it's still at 5 or 4.5 right now.
Okay.
It's still 5 or 4.5. Hasn't moved. Jim did take him at +5, and that line is still where it was in the morning. And I guess that's about it. I guess you got to wrap it up, right? Larry is freaking out once again. Larry would love to have this show go on for an extra half hour or an hour every day, but Larry is paid by the man, so Larry does what the man tells him to do, just like the rest of us, right, Jim?
Yes, we are forced.
If we paid Larry, he would love to do whatever we want, but he's got to do what the man tells him to do.
And we would like to start the Genius Award. We'd like to start that soon. We will be talking about that. We want to give these incredible cappers on the chat
some kind of props in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's just a friggin' graphic with their name on it. I mean, that's something. You know what I'm saying, Jim?
Yeah, and God, I mean, they're not only great cappers, but they're great guys and great women that it's just wonderful to cap with, and we thank you guys so much for being a part of this show.
Thank you so much. We'll be back at 12 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow for the Thursday card.